Well, let's whip
All
it
right.
back over to AEW Dynamite.
Whip it good. Well, let's see if this was indeed what finally put the nail in the coffin of the ratings for this week, because now they haven't done it enough, Brian. Over the course of the recent weeks, they had to come up with another random 8-man tag where a bunch of people can do a bunch of moves and then they hospitalize somebody at the end of it. That's basically the main event. Sometimes the faces change. You had Josh Alexander, who I thought for a minute was Gabe Kidd. You had Kyle Felcher and you had the Hardley Boys teamed up against Kevin Knight, Hong Kong Phooey, Hangnail Page, and Kenny. Don't forget about Kenny. What differentiates this from anything else they do? Any other these 8-man matches where nobody follows any rule, there's no story told, there's no point made. It's a chance for everybody to do as many of their various athletic tricks and stunts as they can until somebody wins. And this is the same kind of forgettable shit that they've been presenting on and off, mostly on, since they've been on the air, which is why it's so many people have given up, because what else can you fucking see? They started at 20 minutes until 10 and they were still going at 10 o'clock because they got to do the overrun because early on it helped their average, but I think lately it's a toss-up as to whether it helps the average or hurts. But soon as they get past 10, they go 2 minutes into the overrun and they hit Kevin Knight with 3 big moves in a row at 1, 2, 3. They always beat Kevin Knight. They never beat the little girl that's his tag team partner. Then, I know this is surprising to you, but then the heels start to get more heat. And the Hardley Boys get in a fight with Hong Kong Phooey and Kevin Knight, and they fight off. So there, those 4 went somewhere. But here comes Lance Archer and Rocky Romero. And they start all kicking the shit out of Kenny and Hangnail, along with Kyle and Josh. And then they set a chair up in the ring, and Kyle brainbusters Page on the chair. Now, that's not the hospitalization angle. They just wanted to get one of the baby faces out of the way with something simple so they could do the angle where they really injure somebody. So the one guy's been brainbustered on a fucking chair in the middle of the ring just to get him out of the way. Then they set a table up on the floor, and all 4 of the heels get on Kenny. And this was way slower than it sounds. And then Kyle gives Kenny, it was supposed to be a brain buster, but it was a vertical suplex, bad enough, off the apron of the ring, through a table, and almost killed the both of them. And then they do the same thing that how many shows have they done it lately? It was twice on the pay-per-view, wasn't it? I think they carried somebody out on TV the week before last, but out comes the neck brace, out comes the doctors, and they neck brace Kenny, and they fucking cart him off to go to Swerve Land and Osprey Land and whoever else. Again, I can't remember the list. In the last month. Why is any of this expected to mean anything? Or does Tony just, because of his condition, have to tie up all these loose ends, no matter whether it's good for business or not?
Well, I don't think this tied up any loose ends.
Well, I mean, as far as, we're not going to have Kenny on TV for a month because he's going for some type of planned medical deal and to renew his Japanese visa. Because Lord knows, he doesn't want to get shut out of Japan. Okay, he's gone to Japan to do publicity and renewing his visa. You don't have to break his neck when you just broke 3 necks last week.
And we bring up lack of star power. This match is a perfect example. The Young Bucks don't mean shit. Speedball Mike Bailey as a main eventer. How's that working out?
Oh, good God.
As a main eventer, how's that working out? And now the Bucks will go have a match with them, and they'll do all their flips and kick out of everything, and people will rave about it, and no one will give a shit. The next day, everyone will forget about it and move on. And it won't draw a number, and no one will buy a ticket to see it. It's just another meaningless thing on this show. The Callis family's death. Like, Rocky Romero just being a member there doesn't seem like all of a sudden he's there. He's like barely on this show. This show's in a sorry death fall right now, and I don't see anything on the horizon that could pull it out. I only see things that's going to damage more people when they're on this show. MJF was pretty much away from this entire episode. The Hurt Syndicate had a backstage promo.
Oh, I forgot about that. They were in the back for a minute and a half talking about a 6-man in Toronto with Ricochet and his 2 preliminary guy stooges. So they got MVP in the ring, and instead of it making a difference to force MVP in the ring against somebody, they just, okay, we'll do it with Ricochet and his job guys.
And then they lay out Omega during the overrun where less people will see it than any other point of the show. And unless you think people are going to go search for this on YouTube, and again, everything's down. Interest in AEW is down. We've seen it. It's down. And you can understand why. It's a rough show to get through. They have no star power. The limited stars they have get hurt and disappear. And the booking is just mightily frustrating.
Well, that's why they're in the shape they're in. And before we get to the shape they're in, Brian, which is the big story, the ratings of this week, I guess they had an unscheduled Super Bowl opposite them. But what in the world are the highly rated programs on the Arcadian Vanguard Network doing this week?
It doesn't have to be the Super Bowl. Remember the Little League World Series kicked our ass a few weeks ago. Little League. Go get information about all the shows on Twitter at Superpodcast, on Facebook, facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. Of course, each and every day, the wrestling news is there for you. TheWrestlingNews.com directly, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. No clickbait, no paywall, just the wrestling news. Want to make mention of Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam, a look at 1985, 40 years ago in Mid-South Wrestling. McAdamPod.com, or look for Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And of course, the 605 Super Podcast, the Mothership! Yeah, there's some house guests here that don't know what just happened. Go through the archive, 605pod.com, wherever you find your favorite podcast. Your sound effect crapped out, but we will crap on you.
So you got house guests. How much you charging them?
Not enough.